Hey everyone, Genome here, coming to you with my next Marvel Strike Force video. This one's going to have to do a little more with some changes I'd like to see to the existing game, and these are characters that have been around for a long time, and the game is completely left them behind, and one of them actually was never even part of the game, really. And I'm talking none other than Vision, and especially talking about Scarlet Witch. Now, I made a video the other day about Supernatural, and some characters I'd like to see Scarlet Witch replaced with, because you don't need her on the team, but if you could fix Scarlet Witch, there's a possibility that she could help turn their game around, but it's going to take a lot of changes on her. And I don't think you're going to do that. I don't think you're going to change her base kit that much. But here's what I would like to see for the both of them, and more especially her. So let's start out with Vision, since he'll need the least work. Vision's still a really good character. It's just that he's not great at any one thing. His old claim to fame really was his speed and getting off his special, like at the beginning of a match, and hitting like 2 ability blocks on turn 1 was amazing. And back in the day, he was maybe the fastest character in the game, so it was pretty regular that he would go first, right? Incredibly valuable. As you can see, I actually maxed out his basic, which is no small feat. You don't see that too often. It's a really good basic, and he was just really solid on tech teams, basically because his buff was one of the best in the game as well when it came to tech. So, but a lot of other players can do this, or characters can do this now, so it's not what it once was, and he's still a very good plug-and-play character. It's just, there's no home for this guy right now, even though I do use him on my Power Armor and War a lot, because I don't bother with, what's her name? Ironheart, so... but anyway, so here's what I would change with him, and I wouldn't change very much. Now, first off, for those of you who don't know, and I'm sure most of the development team does not know anything about the comics or whatever, Scarlet Witch and Vision, of course, were husband and wife, and people know that now because of the movies and the TV show. But they have a very long history together, and it's very wacky and kooky. I mean, this is just one. I have lots of books with them in it, but. So yeah, there's that. I think it would be cool, and you can barely see him on the cover here. He actually has another form when he turns completely white. I think that would look cool. If they were teamed up together, I think that would look kind of cool. Because he's really kind of ugly as the character model with the red and green, you know, in game. Is what it is. It's just cosmetic. But I think if she did that, it would be nice if they amped him up a little bit on a pairing with her. And really, the only thing I would change much, maybe add something to his passive or something. I don't know. I didn't really theorycraft that too much. But I think it should affect his ultimate the most. Now, his ultimate is pretty good, but it can be resisted, and it only gets rid of 2 positive effects. And I think if they were paired together for whatever reason, that it should remove all positive effects. It doesn't miss, so it's basically a clear, almost like a Doc Ock, right? It doesn't have to flip them, but it can at least just wipe them out completely. I think that would be really good, and it'd make it a lot more useful, because it takes 2 turns anyway to get this thing going, so it's not exactly ready on turn 1 anyway. So I don't think it'd be too overpowered, and it would be just adding a little something. The bleed is no big deal, because by the time this comes into play, that bleed's not going to be do or die anyway. So I think just adding a little bit of that, and maybe adding, I don't know, maybe extra power to his attack, adding extra dodge perhaps, or maybe even a res mechanic, like a one-time guaranteed res mechanic, as long as Scarlet Witch is still alive and they're teamed up. I think that would be actually kind of a cool thing, and might give at least that duo some playability. The main work, though, needs to be done on Scarlet Witch, because her kit just doesn't make any sense, and the way they built this character just doesn't make any sense. Like the healing thing, it makes no sense to me, and it's actually probably her best move, right? This is very reminiscent, and WoW, there was a shaman ability. I can't remember what the name of it was now, but basically it made everybody's health equal across the board. It's usually an emergency cooldown, whatever you had to hit for bad raid mechanics or something, but so it can be strong. Unfortunately, on her team, this is not a good thing, because you can take high health characters and knock them down to, say, half health, like everybody else, and everyone's at half health, but you got no real way to heal things. I mean, of course, Mordo does do some passive healing, but it's not much, right? So this can actually hasten your demise. It might save one character, but it might wipe out your entire team. So it's not that great, and it definitely needs complete T4 investment to make it actually even more decent to actually apply defense up. Instead of 50% chance of. I mean, that's just it's not that good, right? And that's her best move. The only real move that makes sense in her kit is her basic, applying random negative effects. Now, here's the thing with Scarlet Witch. People in the movies, you know, that's the first time they've ever seen her before, don't know about her. She is involved, or her power is hex magic, right? And hex magic is very, very unpredictable. Like, she doesn't always know what it's going to do. She's not flying around like in the movies and throwing energy bolts all the time. That's not her power kit. She will, like, you know, try to cast her spell or whatever on an enemy, and sometimes bad things happen to them. You know, but she has no real huge control of it. She's actually a multiversal threat. We find out later on in some of the other books. I'm not sure how much I want to buy into that, but you know, she wipes out like half the beings in existence, or all the mutants in existence across all the different dimensions. She's like stronger than the Beyonder all of a sudden, but whatever the case may be, this one actually makes sense, and I really wouldn't fool with it too much. Except I would make it guaranteed 2 random negative effects, especially if you tier 7 or, you know, tier 4'd it. I mean, it's weird. She has a really pretty high damage stat too, and she does no damage. So nothing makes sense. She needs more health. She needs some defense, but whatever. And her ultimate makes no sense to me either. It sounds good on paper, but once again, a lot of times she goes before other characters on the team, and so you don't even get a chance to prolong the effects that you want to get prolonged. It's just weird. I think this should be very similar to like other characters, like say Scientist Supreme, where it just stacks a bunch of random negative effects. I would take 1 point of energy out of this to start, so she doesn't open with this though, because that would be really, really, really strong. But I think that's what it should be more like. It just guarantees that it puts random negative effects out there. It keeps the flavor of the character together, and just makes it so much more useful. Because a lot of times you'll be caught out in the rain not using this on turn 1 or 2 because you didn't get the buffs or the debuffs that you wanted to get rolling, and then prolong with this. And just 1 turn and all that, it's just not great. Once again, you need this T4 to even be remotely decent, always applying defense down. Lots of characters can get around this now. So, yeah, I would totally change this ability for sure, just like her special. You know, I don't know what the answer is, but maybe put, you know, regeneration on everybody so they can start healing back up. Something, because this is a really dangerous thing to use, so... And of course, her passive. Oh my gosh, her passive is awful. Awful. This is just, this should be almost like a reverse Green Goblin. I think it should just be applying negative effects, once again, that can't miss. Or, in lieu of that, if you want to kind of get away from the debuffs a little bit, there's a different way you could do this to help give her some more survivability. And my idea with this is to have her passive just be like Hex Shield. Basically, it's always around her, and every opponent that tries to attack her has a 50% chance to fail the attack. Sounds really strong, but once again, if a Black Bolt punch gets through, he's going to one-shot her anyway. A lot of strong characters can almost one-shot her because her defense is so low. She has 0 armor, not much health, whatever. But I think that would be really in keeping with the character and would give her a lot more survivability. I would include AoE attacks, has to be a direct attack, that sort of thing. And so I think that would be kind of flavorful. And if you didn't say, well, backfire attack, at least it would maybe have 50% chance to put offense down and defense up on you. Something like that to make it much more survivable, or make her much more survivable, because she can't do her work. She's always the first to go down, and if it's not Doc Strange, right? So if you're even using her in Supernatural, which I don't, by the way, something to make her more survivable and to let the Supernatural do the thing. But once again, if we're just pairing them up, because you can throw her on an Avenger team, but it's not Wave 1, so it's not all that great because there's no Thor involved. But I think between her and Vision, if you just did some minor tweaks on Vision and some pretty big tweaks on Scarlet Witch, I think it would maintain the flavor of the actual characters and just give them some use, because right now neither one is used right now. But I mean, now look, for example, if you want good pairings, look at the Longshot. And by the way, Longshot is a luck-based character too, and they haven't really captured that in this game. That's his mutant ability, right? But yeah, you see how strong. I'll just go ahead and pull them up here for you, so you have a nice visual, right? Let's see here. You see how strong they are together in the community, right? Vision and Scarlet Witch could be something similar. I don't think they're going to do that because they can't make any money off those guys anymore. They're legacy characters. They don't have to be, of course, as strong as Longshot and Shatterstar, but I mean, they could still have some use in this game as a good plug-and-play duo, right? Something that just fits well together. Or we can even try to cobble together an old old school Avengers team, which is not recommended because they're not good outside of Wave 1. But yeah, it's just a shame to see these two characters languish away, especially Scarlet Witch, and she's like, you need a 5th character for Supernatural, and she's not a good one. Her kit does not line up well with what that team does for the most part, and she's just super squishy and just not worth investing in. She's very easy to farm, which is nice too, by the way. But so yeah, that's the video. Let me know what you think about it below. Do you think that these characters need some work, especially Scarlet Witch? And what would you recommend the changes be on them? So many different ideas and you know, cool ways to revamp characters that kind of gotten thrown by the wayside. Once again, I don't think it's going to happen. It'll probably be much smaller tweaks if they do, but they gave Hulk a really good rework, and he's actually really good now, and a few other characters similar like that. Thor, look what they did with Thor. They added in complete new mechanic to his passive, and that completely makes the character. So they can do something very easy with Scarlet Witch to do that. Like I said, Vision's good, so he doesn't need much, and I think he could be, you know, brought back semi-meta again. So anyway, that rambled on, sorry. Yeah, let me know what you think about these ideas below, and let me know what you think about the characters themselves and the tag team. And yeah, until next time, this is Genome, out.